What's up, YouTube? Coming at you today with a very exciting knife to show you from Pohl. And one of my very first YouTube videos, guys, was of my Pohl Lima 1, which is this fixed blade knife here that I'll show you more here in a second. And it was one of the first Pohl videos in English, and I've been in contact with Pohl ever since then. They were in the early stages of wanting to come to the United States, and now they are here. They've just launched, and Phil over at Pohl was good enough to send this knife out to me for review. And the website is up and running. Here is Phil's card, website address. I'll have a link in the description to that. But thanks again, Phil, and this is exciting times to be involved. And this knife I've had for quite a few days now. Been checking it out, using it, sharpened it, and thought I'd share my thoughts on it with you guys and give you a first look here. There are no videos on this knife yet. So this is the Mic 1 Outdoor, and this is the second folding knife from Pohl to be made by Lionsteel. Lionsteel is an Italian company doing some of the most innovative stuff with knives out there right now. Probably the finest knives coming out of Europe from production standpoint. And this has a lot of their unique characteristics that you find in the Lionsteels. So anyway, this is the Mic 1 Outdoor titanium frame lock. It has a G10 side that is actually integrated to the back spacer, kind of like Strider. So that is one piece G10 and then the titanium. Makes for a very strong design. There are a few differences with mine than the knives that will be available for sale that I'll point out real quick. Mine does not have a serial number. This one was one of the very first off the production line. So it does not have a serial number. And it does not have a certificate of authenticity. And if you were to buy the Pohl Mic 1, you would get a pouch similar to this one. This is from my Lima. And then you would get a certificate similar to this one. That'll have your serial number and the birthday on there, birth date. So other than that, this is the exact knife that you'll get. I'm having a hard time in the viewfinder here, but I hope that you guys are getting a good quality picture there. This stone wash is just gorgeous. The grinds are gorgeous. It's got a nice swedge on top here. This is a Niolox stainless steel, which is new to me. From what I've read, it's a very tough stainless steel, and I could tell that the heat treat was done very well when sharpening. It's done to 5860. The G10 side and the titanium side are both milled with the 3D machining that Lionsteel is famous for, and it's done really, really well. It's sort of a rock pattern, and it's extremely comfortable. I was worried some of these corners and then on the sides could be sharp, but they're not. They're not sharp at all. They've been buffed or polished down. Ergonomics on the knife are outstanding. The Foxtrot is a great knife if you're familiar with that by Pohl, but it's very large. And then it has sort of some different finger choils here, and I think this one for me is just perfect. You have a spot here for your fingers, spot here, excellent thumb ramp, and then you can choke up in the choil for a forward grip for close in work. Reverse grip is outstanding. And you have some jimping here on the G10. Extremely comfortable in all grips. And I have cut wood with this knife, and with the closed spine construction, it's very comfortable. The fat of your hand doesn't go down into the spine like it does when it's an open spine like this on the back. As far as cleaning it out, you've got the gap here for mud and debris to get out. Lockup is outstanding. Detent is great. Could be a little stronger for my personal preferences. This knife is pretty much dead on center. Some of the Foxtrots were off pretty good to this side, but this one is pretty much dead on. And it is adjustable via the T-bolt and spanner nut hardware construction here that Pohl Force uses on all their folders, and most of the fixed blades with scales also use these. They're very strong. They're also hollow, so you could put a lanyard through there. The knife does come with a bungee type paracord piece that you could actually put through both and then have sort of a D knuckle going over, but you have a lanyard hole on the back as well with the same hollow hole. Lockup is outstanding. Like I said, it's, I would call, about 50%, and this one has been through Blade Show and a couple other trade shows, so I don't know if it was earlier than that or started, but when you look at the lock geometry on the tang, it looks to me like there are two angles. So you have an angle that comes in about like this, and then about halfway it gets steeper. If you can make that out there. So when it locks up, it sort of falls right into that pocket, and it is absolutely rock solid, no play in any direction, and it's not sticky. A lot of these titanium locks are very sticky. It's not carbonized from what I can see, but it is not sticky. It works perfectly, and it's comfortable to open the lock as well. You can hopefully see there's a radiused area where they've come back in and grinded here so that it's not a sharp edge when you push the lock bar off. This knife has the RotoBlock, which is a Lionsteel innovation. So for your lock bar stabilizer here, when the knife is in the open position, you can move this in this way, and it'll actually lock. You have a little dimple that doesn't allow that to open up now. A little piece that sticks out there I'll show you in a second. So I've heard people say that turns the knife into a fixed blade, and I would never go that far. A folder is not to be abused as a fixed blade is. But it does prevent all chances of lock slippage. If you happen to be chopping with a folder or doing some hard work, you can put that RotoBlock on and have no worries there of lock slippage. Mine was kind of loose when I got it, and I've tightened that up. You can actually adjust that. But I'll show you the inside there if I can. You might be able to see. But there's just a little slot that moves over and contacts with the lock bar, so the lock bar can't open all the way. But it does actually act as your over travel stop as well, so the lock bar cannot overextend. Teflon washers, so it's a smooth action, but with a thumb disc instead of thumb studs, kind of like an Emerson. It's a knife that you definitely can't just sit there and flick all day. It's more of a slow opener, but very smooth, and lockup is outstanding. Size-wise, to give you an idea, it is almost identical size-wise to my Emerson Commander. It's about a 4-inch blade, just a little over 4-inch handle. The handle ergonomics are actually almost identical to my Lima 1. The lines on the handles of these two knives are the same. So I think I've hit on all the big stuff as far as lockup, smoothness, centering, and all those things. Size. The pocket clip I didn't mention is rounded spring steel, which makes for some of the most comfortable pocket clips. It fits right into the hand and just melts in. Focus here. So it's extremely comfortable. Let's talk about a few of the little things. Like I said, Lionsteel is doing some really innovative stuff. If you all aren't aware, Lionsteel makes knives for knife research, Dendra, DPX, Pohl Force, Blackwater, and of course Lionsteel makes their own knives like the SR1 and the tie spine. And they're really nailing a lot of the little stuff. When you have a detent on your lock bar and you're closing the knife, when you go to close the knife, if you haven't cleared the detent ball yet, but you've cleared the tang, now when you run into the detent ball, you have to overcome the detent ball to close the knife. There's a little, second stop there. So one thing that they've done here that I hope you'll be able to see is that right in here on the back of the tang of the knife, they've put a relief ramp for the detent ball to ride on. So it really just has a nice transition when you miss the detent ball with the tang there, when you haven't closed it far enough. One finger there, just nice and smooth. Another little thing that they've nailed is the hot spots. I think I mentioned that these look like they could be sharp if not done well, but they're all either rounded or buffed or blasted. It's not sandblasted, but it's definitely softened up, but extremely grippy. The jimping on the knife on the spine here is excellent. It's been rounded off or buffed, so again, no hot spots there. It's extremely functional, but it's also not going to hurt your thumb in extended use. The thickness of this bad boy, it's 5 mil thick, and for comparison, an Emerson, which is considered a hard use knife, is 3 mil. So it is an extremely stout, well-built knife. I'm extremely happy with the performance so far. I've opened it and closed it myself hundreds of times, and that lock is just absolutely in the same place every time. It's solid, it doesn't stick. Just outstanding. I'll just shut up for a while and show you guys some good shots here in HD. I hope that stonewash is showing up. It appears the knife to me was finished to almost a mirror finish before the stonewashing, because there are no grind lines whatsoever. Now, I've used this knife quite a bit, so you will see some scratches, as well as it went through a lot of the blade shell, I told you. I put a mirror finish on that edge. But anyway, guys, I'll definitely be doing more videos on this knife, and hope you'll go check out PohlForceUSA.com. Their stuff's been hard to get, so now it should be available more readily. And thanks for watching, everybody.